hello podcast, and hello over everyone on Instagram as well. Thanks everyone for jumping in. Just going to set up a post here. Right, so Start a Business Q&A episode 104. Thanks so much everyone for jumping in, and great to see you all. What a great week we've got ahead. I'm really excited actually. There's quite a lot happening, and Wednesday is the big day. It's if you hadn't heard about it already, I'm obviously not making enough noise about it. But basically on Wednesday this week, we have the inaugural Entrepreneur Business Live event in London. So at 6:30 p.m. In London, over at WeWork Devonshire Square, we will be running the event. We've got some great speakers. We've got an executive producer who worked with the BBC and Sky and Discovery, a corporate PR expert who's worked with people like Deloitte and Santander. We've got the Influensive. You've probably heard of Influensive, the publication online. We've got the founder or co-founder, Clinton Senkow, and I'm speaking as well about the work I've done with LinkedIn. So thanks so much, everyone, for jumping in. And do not buy any more tickets. We're almost 20% over the seating capacity. So everyone will be standing at the back. But it's a great event. If you are interested in coming to the next event, we now have tickets available. So you go to my site, therichardmore.com, and under products, you've got Entrepreneur Business Live, and you can buy tickets to the September 12th event. So that's ready to roll, and VIP seats are available for that as well. The exciting thing about Wednesday is that it's not just about the speakers, it's also about the networking. And with close to 50 people that have registered to attend the event, it means we're going to have a great number of people in the room. Even if half of them don't come, it's still a half decent turnout. And so it's very kind of topical, almost like I calculated it right, that today's Q&A topic is on face-to-face selling. So those of you jumping in on Facebook and YouTube and over on Instagram, give me some vibe about if you've done any face-to-face networking before. Give me a thumbs up if you've done any of that. Or if it's something on your radar that you're doing at the moment, because it's very, very relevant here. And if you have a question about face-to-face networking, so meeting people and doing sales to them face-to-face, or at least just the networking element, do pop them in the comments and we'll try and cover them today. Devon, Jacob, Nadine, nice to see you here on Facebook as well. So let's go on with the first questions, and thanks everyone that sent them in today. So the first question is from Eileen Kelly. Who's asked, Richard, what are the good opening questions to ask when at networking? I would like to ask different questions. They're open-ended and not your general questions. Okay, fine. I think it's interesting because you've got to look more at the dynamic needed when you first network with people. When you first are saying hello to someone at a networking event, you need to keep the talk like real small talk. And what people want is for you to be a safe bet. Okay. If you come on too strong, it might just be a bit too much. But the thing to remember is that everyone is cool with speaking to you. Everyone. There's no one who's going to have a problem with you speaking to them. Okay, so if you go up to literally anyone, I've never had it there. Someone's like, I don't want to speak to you. They always will speak to you. Always. Because at networking events, people don't know what they've got. There's a little bit of nerves. They just want someone who's going to say hello. Because what people don't want is to stand around doing nothing. Okay, so go say hi, and it's absolutely fine. Make a bit of eye contact if you want, but I start things like I ask questions. Well, I mean, let me put it this way: it's essential that you if you're nervous or anything, you put the onus on them. You want to get that person talking. It gets you a good vibe of the person. This is good for selling in general, right? But it gives you a good vibe of that person, what they're actually like. Lets your subconscious tune into the type of person you've got. It gets them comfortable because they're talking a bit, but it also puts you in a position of control because you're asking the questions, you're kind of chairing the conversation. So what I would strongly suggest is, I ask questions, things like, I'd say, so what did you think? How have you found the event so far? What did you think of the speakers? Even stuff like that. Have you come far? If you all got that thing in common, let's say you're in London, for example, you could say, so have you come far? It doesn't matter. The point is you have small talk to begin with. I think it's a mistake to go big or with the questioning when you're first like walking up to someone. If you start with, so hi, my name is Richard. What challenges do you have or something? If you go, it's just too much. Don't be businessy, don't be salesy, be normal. Just say hi. That's all it is. How are you is a good one. And what do what you need is something to talk about. The thing you've got in common, okay, is that you're at this event. So talk about the event. quite, have you been to one of these before? What did you think of the speakers? Quite a good turnout. Or I'm glad I'm not the only one here if there's only you and that other person in the room, for example. So something like that. And you'll find it starts winding, gets the conversation going. And then you can say, so what is it you do then? And then you're away. But focus on asking them the questions. It gets them warmed up to you. And of course, people like talking about themselves the most. They'll feel better about the conversation because they're focusing on their stuff. And it just gives you the opportunity to look for ammunition, for things to actually talk about because they're giving you information. So that's what I would strongly suggest. But I wouldn't go in hard with any big questions. It's a bad idea. They might sound clever, but it's maybe a bit of a bad idea. Okay, so I hope that helps. Carolina, good morning to you. Hello, and nice to see you. Rukan Malice, nice to see you here. Vanu, hello as well. Devon, nice to see you too. Jacob, I love the heart-shaped emoji. Next question from Devon Scott, actually, who's online right now, is back when I was doing business journalism, I could talk to anybody because I had a camera and a notebook. If you're doing networking for yourself, how do you set yourself up to speak to big figures in your field at events? How do you prove you've earned the right? Really good question. And it kind of comes back a little bit to the point I just made. But then let's look at this in two types of people. There are people that you know about. So, for example, speakers at an event, you know who's going to be there. Or if it's just general networking, you don't know those people there. So hello, everyone, by the way, jumping in on Instagram. I'm aware you're waving and saying hello. That's really kind. So the first type, the ones you know of, and this goes for encountering anyone, say, on LinkedIn as well, it's essential that what you do is you go out of your way to actually find out a bit about them first. So it's beautifully well put. And it's almost because I use this term as well, Devon. When you said earned the right, I strongly feel that you can get anyone to speak to you if you show, if you earn the right to get them to speak to you by talking about something they've done. You've got to be stimulating, right? But if you look at some of the really top people I've managed to speak to in the past, I always focus in on things that they've done first. So a good example is Seth Godin, who's for me is the #1 marketer of all time. The guy was doing email marketing in 1991. Okay, so before internet was really doing much, if anything, and so that's early. And 19 best-selling New York Times books means he knows what he's talking about. So he is king for me on this. And to reach out to him and go, "You're awesome, you're amazing. I'd like to speak to you. Would that be possible?" Is going to be met with nothing because everyone does that. What I did instead was I went and read his books. And I read his blog, his daily blog. So if you don't read it, by the way, you should check out Seth's blog every day. So every day he posts something into your inbox. So what I did was I responded to the blog email. Okay, he emailed it to me. He founded permission marketing as a concept, really, and so that's what he was doing. So I felt I had the right to reply, but I contested a point. I can't remember what it was now, but because a couple of years ago, I was like, "You've written this, Seth. I'm interested in what you think about X, Y, and Z. And if you challenge me or whatever, or at least suggest you've done some research on them, that person's going to be more interested in speaking to you because you've earned the right, because you're talking about their world. Okay, it's going to be very, very interesting for them. Compared with, "Hey, you're amazing, man. Can I have a chat?" And the same goes for networking. If you're going to an event and you want to connect with some of the speakers, go research them. At least scroll down to the bottom of their LinkedIn profile, look at their interests. Have they written a book? Are they on Twitter? What do they write about? What are they interested in? And comment on it. When I was building my 8-Step Startup course 3 years ago, I was connecting with amazing people, like professors at Harvard Business School who'd been in the White House. I read his book and then commented on his book down an email to him. And then, of course, then he responded because I'd done some research. So I think that's one thing I'd bear in mind. If you know certain people that are going to be there, do your research. Then you've got your icebreaker. "Hey, you don't know me. My name's Richard. I was reading your book. The one that you produced in 2008, you said this, this, and this. I wonder what you think about this." And it's the perfect icebreaker. It gets them, that's how you earn the right, because you have something to talk about. If you've got small talk with those people, it doesn't tend to work because that's not really stimulating. Every other person, you can't research them because you don't know who they're going to be when you arrive at the event. There'll be people you don't know and didn't know of before you arrived there. So instead, you leverage the thing you've got in front of you. If there are big hitters that have just done presentations, comment on the presentation. You should be taking notes, right, if they're speaking, because the reason why they're there is they're an expert in their space, or should be. And if you then walk over to them after the speech for some networking or something, then you should be focusing on what they've said or at the very least leveraging the space or the industry you're in, because then it's a talking point. You earn the right through talking about the thing you've got in common. Okay, that's how you should do it. If you can find out who the person is beforehand, you can earn the right through knowing more stuff about them, so you can ask them some interesting questions. That's certainly what I would do, because you always want to walk up to someone having something to say. Okay, and going back to Eileen's question, if you walk up to someone who doesn't know who you are, who you don't know who they are either, it's very intelligent to leverage the very thing that's in front of you, which is the event itself. Make any comment on it and get the ball rolling that way. Just want to shout out to everyone jumping in on Instagram. Thanks so much for doing so. The Taste of Wonderland, nice to see you. Deeba Luca. Diana is here from, I don't know if you're still in Japan, but nice to see you. Hello. Someone's calling me. That's really bad timing. There we are. So hello over on Facebook as well. So Daniel, nice to see you here. And who else? Henna has joined as well. So just again, to let you know, the event on Wednesday, the Entrepreneur Business Live event, is completely kind of closed. There are no seats available now in London. But if you're not in the Facebook group, Entrepreneur Business Group, it's a free group on Facebook, then you're missing out, because we're going to stream all of the speakers live. So at 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday, London time, in the group, you can watch all 4 speakers. Okay, so there'll be Marielle Laguerre, she's corporate PR expert. Then there will be Clinton Senkel, who will be streaming probably from Canada. He's the founder of Influensive. People like Grant Cardone have written articles for Influensive. I'm very lucky that I've been a contributor as well. Billionaires have written for that publication. It's a really exciting thing. And then I will be speaking about my LinkedIn journey and the 3 C's of LinkedIn, which is aligned with my course. And then finally, we've got Delissa Needham speaking. She's an award-winning executive producer. Those of you in the UK will know Graham Norton, the TV presenter. You might know him in the States as well. And she was the person who gave him his gig. So she discovered him back in like 1994 or something, but I'm showing her age there. But there we are. Kurt, hello on Instagram. Nice to see you. Everyone on the podcast as well, thank you for tuning in. I'm getting some really good reviews from that. I know it's the same thing, it's just the audio, but it's really kind of you guys to respond on that. Let's have a look at a question here. Devon Scott's just written on Facebook. In other words, it's still research and journalism, even when it isn't journalism. The camera, when you approach them, is just your own interest and knowledge. Correct. Simple as that. Do your research. Earn the right to speak to someone by thinking about something to say based on what they've been talking about. If there's a speaker speaking about something, take notes, then ask something, contest it, or at least get them to explain or kind of extrapolate on something. They will love it because you're talking about their stuff, which people like talking about. Simple as that. Okay. Let's hop on to the next question. I'm glad this one's come up. Andrew Hall's asked, Richard, to business card or not to business card? It's really simple on this. I don't do business cards anymore, and it's great. Think hard about what's actually happening when you give someone a business card. 2 things happen. Firstly, when you give someone a business card, you tend to have the kind of, you're like, okay, I've got that, and I will take it home as a bit of a trophy. And all you're going to do is you're going to input it into the computer, probably save it somewhere, or probably put it into LinkedIn. All the contacts are on there, sure, but it's intelligent in 2018 to leverage something like LinkedIn. LinkedIn has a direct messenger function. You don't need a mobile number necessarily, and if you do, stick it in your phone then and there. But the other thing that's happened is very, very important, I believe, and I've tested this a lot, but this is what happens with business cards. You tend to have a chat with someone, and if you grab a business card, and you've got to be wary of this, there's this temptation to take a business card and that be that. That can't be your transaction. If instead of taking a business card of someone, you actually say, you get your phone out and say, hey, let's connect right now, because a business card is the invitation to connect. Open up LinkedIn, find them on it, and connect with them. And every time I do this, it's like, hey, look, we're second connections. So who else do we know? Do you know that person? Okay, great. And you got a talking point there as well. And there's something about being huddled around your phone, or if they've got a crazy name, going, here, can you type it in for me? And they're typing in their name, and that connection is so much more powerful. It's too sterile with a business card by comparison, I found. Even if you're laughing and joking, getting connected and that real connection, although it's digital, it all feels much more of a real connection, I think, than just the business card. It feels like something's actually bonded there. And the action of connecting with someone after having a business card has actually been bypassed, and you're just doing it on the phone. So connecting that way has been fantastic for me, because what's happening then is you've got someone saying like, wow, I'm now your first connection, and then there's like, well, why don't we, why don't we send an email to each other? Or can you just DM me your phone number, whatever? And also they now have a call to action arrive on their mobile, which is Richard Moore just sent you a friend request. Okay. And you're away. And I just think I tested this a while back, and all you need to do is say to people, I think my mic is set up actually. All you need to do is say to people, look, I'm, it's 2018. If it's 2018, then let's use LinkedIn, right? And everyone's fine with it. A few people are like, what are you talking about? But they get it. And those that aren't doing it, aren't on LinkedIn, like, no, business card. It's like, well, do you really want to work with these kind of people? There shouldn't be a problem with it. And I think it's fascinating. And so for me, don't bother with business cards. What's the point? And at the very least, and here's your bonus reason why, Andrew. How disruptive is it to say, no, I don't do business cards. It's 2018. Let's use LinkedIn and connect right now. If people are expecting the business cards, because tell you what, when you go to a business event, almost everyone has them. Here's the business card. Here's the business card. And they're dishing them out like this. So, no, I don't have a business card. I'm using LinkedIn now instead. It's so disruptive. They're going to remember you as well. And that's quite a nice way to kind of resonate with someone on a different level. So I suggest you try it. I'm going on Wednesday armed with 0 business cards, but a charged up phone ready to connect with people. Because you know what? I don't do business on business cards. I don't really do business on the phone anymore. I do business via digital, which is LinkedIn. However, you need to know your audience. All is to say, it's intelligent to do that. So look, if you're working in the kind of industry or space where the people you're targeting don't do LinkedIn, wherever that may be, and there may be a very business cardy kind of world, well then fine. So you have to play to the audience. But in the main, it's intelligent to try this. The best thing to do, as with anything, is give it a shot and see what you think. But I strongly suggest you give that a try. It's a good question, really good question there. Daniel Nunez, hands full, can't take notes today, written on Facebook. So let me answer your question at least. He's written, Richard, everyone is headed somewhere, and there are so many paths to get there. How do you deal with your younger audience, 19 to 25 years old, and lead them to action when many have become accustomed to things done for them? Well, personally, I've not found this, Daniel. I've not found that there's this kind of layabout attitude in that age group where they're like, no, I can't be asked to do anything. But there's a reason why. And here's the thing. I work a lot with 19 to 25-year-olds, but I don't target 19 to 25-year-olds. What I do is I target certain people in the age bracket 19 to 25-year-olds. You may think I'm being pedantic, but this is a very important consideration. If I targeted 19 to 25-year-olds, arguably there might be a stereotype there where some people are like in that kind of space where they maybe they're expecting entitlement or something like that. I don't believe that's the case for the people I am personally targeting. I am targeting those people who have that really ambitious go-getter attitude, who are trying to build their own thing, and the entrepreneurs out there and the ones who are trying to make something of themselves and who are maybe content generators or whatever it might be. These guys, they are actively trying to do things for themselves. So in fact, I find that if I target the right type of people within the 1925 bracket, I have no problem, to be honest. And I think to answer your question, how do you deal with your young audience? What I do is I make sure I'm segmenting that audience and focusing on the people within the audience that are going to be way more relevant to me. It's like saying, how can you get 60-year-olds, the 60 to 70-year-old age bracket, interested in online marketing when they're all past it? Well, what you do is you target people within the 60 to 70 age bracket who have more of a progressive attitude. How do you do that? Well, look at the people who are online in that age bracket. Simple as that, because they're the ones who are demonstrating that they're actually involved in that space. You see what I mean? So what this requires is for you to drill down further on that age bracket, and as a result, you're going to be in a better place to expect returns from those people. I wouldn't out and out target all 19 to 25-year-olds, because the ambitious ones you want to target, who are go-getters, who want to respond to you, they will be heavily diluted by arguably this stereotype of people who may be a little more lazy, if that is indeed how you feel it is, that's the case. So that's just my view on it. Maybe you need to drill down a bit more. The age bracket on its own is far too broad. You need to drill down from there. Okay. So next question, just to do 2 more questions, unless there's any questions here. I need to make this fairly short today because of other things setting up. But if there's any other questions on face-to-face, let me know. Next one's from Abhijit Joshi, who's in the Entrepreneur Facebook group. Nice to receive this from you. Thank you. How do you brag without bragging? Well, the best way to bragging is when you're talking about yourself in a way that winds people up, probably. What you need to do is brag in a way that deflects the attention from you, but sends attention to you by proxy. 2 ways of doing it, really simply. Either you talk yourself about people out there who are who you served or helped, and in talking about their story and narrative about how you helped them, what happens is they are evidencing that, by them being successful, you are in turn showing you're being useful or valuable because you're the enabler for their success. So you talk about other people. That's called testimonial, basically. The best ones, the other approach, which is even better, is when other people talk about you. And what you need to do is say, right, how do I create this social proof? How do I sit in the background and have other people talking about me? And it's just really simple. You can brag by having other people brag for you, by being great enough that people are going to do that. But I recognize this is a session about face-to-face networking. So when you're going to brag, but you don't want to brag because that's bragging, you need to just talk about people you've worked with. Focus completely on clients and their successes and just drip in there the things you did to help them. So instead of saying, I'm great because I can do this and I can do this, say, I have a really successful client who's managed to do this and this and this and this, and show the before and after to create the contrast. And what you're essentially saying is, I'm the leverage point. I'm the reason why they stepped up a level. And that's the technique you need to use there. So the bragging comes by proxy. You simply talk about what someone else has done really, really successfully, but just drip in there. It's called that kind of technique is called invisible selling. We just drip in there that, little hints that it was actually you that nudged them in that direction or helped them out. I had a client once who had this thing, and what's really great is we showed them the way to do this and this and this, and they're killing it now. They're doing this and this, and by association, that's your brag there. Okay, but it's better than saying I'm just really good at what I do. Okay, unless you do it as a joke, that tends to work. Okay, but that's a really good question. You must use other people. That social proof is the way to do it, Abhijit. Last question from Danny Battershill, and hello everyone on Instagram. There's a few more people jumping in there. Danny Battershill over in New Zealand. To be well established is to have a good reputation in your local community. What are 3 things you could tell us that can help us make more of a name for ourselves in our local communities? Look, this is the same with anything, a local online community or a local community physically as well. What you need to think about is, what does a good reputation look like? What it is people talking positively about you, right? What you need is to not even be in the room, not even be in earshot, and know that other people are talking about you. And the way you do it is you ask yourself, how do I network back? How do I map back from people talking about me positively? Well, those people need to have a positive feeling about me. They need to have evidence that I'm great and have such an impact that they feel that there's enough social currency that they would look cool by sharing how amazing I am as well. So the way to do that is you need to show up lots and you need to help people lots. If you help people enough, here's the problem with a lot of value giving, because I think everyone's kind of clear. If you thumbs up this maybe, but everyone's kind of clear. You give value, then you can get value. That's the earning the right thing that Devin brought up earlier as well. We all understand that. The problem, and the reason why a lot of people don't win, is they don't give enough value. Okay, so I make a point of giving such outrageously overwhelming value that someone's like, this is insane, you give me so much, you've made such a difference in my life that as a result, I feel massively indebted to you and I only need to go out of my way to speak to people about you all the time. If you give enough value, so if you help someone enough, then what you're doing is you're just meeting their needs enough. And that's not going to be compelling to the point that they're going to say, do you know, I've just got to tell everyone about you and what you've done. So instead, you need to step up a level, help them like go really out of your way, be remarkable and noteworthy in your level of help and giving, that they are stumbling over themselves to go tell people about you. So whatever that might look like, maybe really do some big things for them. And it's worth doing that on a small scale with a small number of people, because as a result, a lot more people will then want to hear about that. So you're not just helping that one person, because remember, they're going to spread your word. Going back to Seth Godin, he calls them sneezers. These are people who are going to sneeze and spread the word about how great you are. So Matt, back from people talking about you. And the only way to get people to talk about you to other people is to make such a remarkable experience. And if you're incapable of creating a remarkable experience, or perhaps it's not enough that you're giving them. Okay, that's the way to look at it. Robert Sislow, hello, nice to see you on Instagram. Robert Sislow here is the guy that does video for Grant Cardone. It's an absolute pleasure, my man, to see you here. Thank you very much. I think about a month ago you had your birthday, I think it was. So I hope you had a good time. And if anyone wants to learn how to create the coolest hair, then go hit up Robert Sislow. He'll explain how to do it. But nice to see you, my man. Thank you very much. All over in the States. Are you in Miami at the moment, or are you somewhere else? I don't know. But thank you very much for jumping in. And so that's one idea, Danny. Two other ideas as well. One is find out in your local community who to leverage. Just connecting and networking is not intelligent in and of itself, okay? You need to be a bit more calculated. There's more people than you could ever network with. So start connecting to people who are slightly above your level or way above your level. Because if you can do that, what's going to happen is they will take you with them. If you're networking with people far beneath you who don't have any connections, who aren't really going to speak for you or vouch for you, that's not going to move you anywhere. It's not to say don't help the little guy, pick them up along the way as you go, but you need to step up a level. Always be trying to push up a level, because if you are reaching up, as the term goes, you do move to a really good place where they kind of pull you up to their level. Again, being remarkable, helping a lot, but the people on a higher level than you soon rocket up. It's amazing. If you can get those people around you who you're networking with who are on a high level, that's good. So see how you can leverage them. What can you give them of value? Can you do something in return for them? Can you recommend people to them that gets you on their radar, comment on their posts, things like that. But do things that put these people in a place where they're thinking, wow, this guy Richard's really worth paying attention to. It really does go a long way. And the other thing I was going to say is, what I'm doing on Wednesday, put on an event. How do I want to become well known in the space I'm working in? Well, I need to promote an event that has me in it, but also has lots of people attending so they can talk about the event. I mean, let's say that out of, it's close to 50 people, but let's say 35 people attend, and let's say only 10 of them when they attend are heavy, Twitter followers, Twitter users. They may well post take a photo, because everyone takes pictures for their Instagram, whatever. I'm at a networking event, I'm Richard Moore's event, or Entrepreneur Business Live, and it spreads the word a bit, you see. So put on your own thing. And if you want to become well known, get people attending who are well known. Get people who are going to speak, like at my event. We've got people speaking who are fantastic speakers. I've been to events before, and it's like, no one knows who this person is, even in that space. If you look at Delisa Needham, she's phenomenal in what she's done. She's managed multi-million-pound budgets. She's made amazing products for across the years for very well-known channels like Discovery and Sky and BBC. And so they're really interesting leverage points, and that's what people are going to talk about. And if those people have a following, Clinton Senkow is the co-founder of Influensive. And so then, when I managed to get him as a speaker, then he went and posted to his audience that he's going to be speaking at an event and shared on his Instagram as well. The guy's got a following. And so you do that enough, and then so you have your own event as well, or something that's going to help leverage other people. As long as you use their permission, don't just do an Instagram post and tag everyone. Get their permission to do it. Then you can really move to a good place, and they will lift you up again. So it's similar to that second point about your connections as well. So yeah, really good question in that, Danny. Thank you very much. I think we'll finish there just because of time today. But thank you very much, everyone who jumped in. If you're available on Friday online and you're not in the Entrepreneur Business Group, you need to join it as soon as you can. Go to Facebook. In the search bar, type Entrepreneur Business Group, and when you find it, it's 3,500 people. Just jump in, and obviously on on Wednesday at 6:30 London time. You'll be able to tune in to the 4 speakers. But otherwise, have a great day. Thank you very much, everyone who joined in on Instagram. Thank you, everyone who's joined in as well on over on YouTube. Those of you on